What size earthquake was on the East Coast? 5.1. 5.1 craton edge, no drill points there, which is good.
Yeah, okay, so the preliminary at 5.1 magnitude, if that holds, I mean, I'm looking up a lot of data and I can't find anything that big in the state of North Carolina since we've been keeping records. I think the largest one I found before that, let me go back to that. This particular website, so I don't want to, without double checking this, so this is all fast data coming in, but on earthquaketrack.com, you can actually pinpoint an area, then you can kind of say when was the biggest one, and before today it was 2 years ago, and that was in Tennessee. That wasn't even in North Carolina. So I mean, the 4.4 in North Carolina, it would be not even in the 4s. So this is a 5.1 near Sparta. So that's what we're saying, a depth of about 3 kilometers. So this is going to be felt in a large area. So in and around Mount Airy and up near Boone and near Sparta, likely there was going to be some sort of damage. I also pulled some data to show you, typically in that range, in 2.5, 3, you really don't feel it that much. You might feel just a little bit if you're close to the epicenter, but once you get closer to around 5, that's going to be felt. That I have been able to see, and I'll switch back to that again. You're not seeing it. I'm looking at different computers, but 5.1 magnitude. That it's the biggest, Anthony, so far that we have on record, at least the data that I'm looking at right now. I'd like to confirm that a little bit later on, but we get a lot of them. By the way, in and around Sparta, if I take the filters out, 7 hours ago they had a 2.6. 1 day ago they had a 2.3. This is all in the same place. This typically happens. And then just about 2 hours beyond that, there was another one at 2.1. So this is 4 in a row in and around Sparta.
It's called the foreshock, meaning before usually a bigger magnitude earthquake, as we saw today. 5.1, as far as this measures for the history of North Carolina, the strongest was 1916 at 5.5. We had a similar one, about a 5.1 back in 1861, and then there was also a Mitchell County earthquake back in 1926. Listen to some of those years. This is the strongest earthquake that we've had in North Carolina for 100 years. So this is significant. So what does a 5.1 even mean? Well, first off, look where this started. It started pretty much on the border of North Carolina and Virginia, but it's all the way down here into Lancaster County that we actually had some effects. So getting some of our viewer emails in here, this one right here said, I live in South Lancaster County, and it was strong enough to shake its China cabinet. Think about that. This is about 100 miles away. So let's put on our measuring scope to actually see how far away this was affected. So this was just southeast of Sparta, North Carolina, again, right on the border of Virginia and North Carolina. Check out this measuring tool. From Charlotte, the epicenter was 100 miles away. Many of you reporting this. I got some emails from Denver, North Carolina, down to Rock Hill, Fort Mill, that's 117. And we're talking about southern Lancaster County, where that email came from, that's about 150 miles away. So a 5.1, again, is a very significant earthquake where sometimes this can cause some cracks in the walls. This can also shake some cabinets, as we just heard, and that was over 100 miles away, and many could be awakened by that. Some people were they woke up around 8:07 when this officially happened in York County. So this is a significant event just because of how far that it reached. And this often happens because there's fault lines, there's little tremors that this can follow, but we're also not done with this. There's going to be aftershocks over the next couple of days that we have to mention. So they're going to be less. Picture like a bouncy ball. When you first bounce it, it's going to be at its highest point, just like the earthquake will be at its strongest point. So likely anyone who felt it could feel a little bit more of those 2s or 3s over the next day. Even a little bit later on, as far south as maybe Hickory, you could be feeling some of these tremors. But this looks to be the big one, and again, a historic event where a 5.1, again to reiterate, can move some furniture. Light shaking and some property damage is likely around where this epicenter took place. This is historic, everyone. So hopefully everyone is okay. The further that you get away from it, it's mainly just kind of a shock and awe to the system. But this one is going to go down into the history books. The most recent one trying to reach back in the history books was 1981, 3.5 magnitude earthquake in Henderson County. But this one was a big one.
But it's proof that energy is transferring across the plate. We're just a couple states off. Small states, too, not like massive Texas-sized states. A couple states off from our warned location. So our warned location was right here. The Quebec, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine border region, right there. And again, if I get first earthquake this size in 10 years, and I'm off by a couple states, a couple hundred miles, okay, all right, what, 400 miles or so? Oh man, okay, there it is. So we're not done yet, though. Again, like I said, there's energy coming across the plate. Still, we have new 5s coming out of. Please. Hey, look, we went up 20,000 felt reports. It was at 60,000, now it's at 80,000. We're probably going to break 100,000 felt reports on this. Now, they have some information. No liquefaction, no landslides. The beach ball moment tensor telling us which way the break took place. So they're saying one way and then the other. I would say we should pay attention to the white, because the white's going to tell us which direction the negative space is moving. Does that make sense? The negative space. The unbroken point. How do you measure the unbroken point? I don't know. You have to look at the broken point.